morning and welcome to Back to School Night 2020. This is 21st Century Marketing and it's distance learning style. I want to take a minute and introduce myself. I'm Mrs. Jenkins and I am a Santa Clarita Valley native. I did graduate from Hart High School, so I am a product of our district. I am a mom of four. I have adult children, 23 and 22, 17-year-old on his way to a freshman year of college, and a 14-year-old who just started high school. So I understand a lot of the challenges that you are going through as parents and want to be here to support you and support your students through this. I have been in education for 28 years, started with child development and human development, worked in elementary school, homeschooled my own kids, and then moved on to career and technical education, and have really just found kind of my passion in that area, especially in helping students figure out where they're headed after high school. So about room 535, or this year virtual room 535, we've had to make a few little changes. I do strive to run the classroom like a simulated workplace. And that will look a little different now that we're in distance learning, but when we're in the classroom, we use all sorts of different techniques to try and help them to get used to what the workplace will be like, whether it's right after high school or possibly after college. That's really one of the biggest goals that I have in this class. And so as we shift to the distance learning version, our goals kind of change into taking that positive workplace culture, making sure that it works its way into our content and communication and keeping those things professional and G-rated, and giving the students opportunities for collaboration within their comfort levels through this distance learning process. I work hard to hold workshop Wednesdays, which we'll be doing starting this week, to help them strengthen those Google app skills that they are working on, because those are not only part of their distance learning journey, but also the workplace journey that they'll be going into at some point. So the last thing that we do to kind of work on that simulated workplace is the performance review self-assessment. So I do ask the students kind of assess, how am I doing in these areas, and it not just be grades that are coming from me. So speaking of grades, grading attendance and assignments in distance learning, and these are very specific to this time period. And as we make the journey back into the classroom, when we're ready to do that, when the district gives us the okay, I will update all of this for you. As of right now, grading will be broken down basically 50-50. 50% will be the assessment of the universal skills that we cover in this class. 50% will be considered quality of work, and that would be making sure that students are working competently and accurately to the best of their ability. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's more a matter of the process of them doing those assignments, and then making sure they're completing those assignments thoroughly and in a reasonable amount of time. So we're working on some of those skills that maybe are not necessarily just academic, but those universal skills, and time management becomes a big part of that. So we do look at that as part of the grading. Grades will be updated in Infinite Campus weekly. They will go in this week for the first time, now that we have had the chance to do back to school night and explain our grading policies to parents. As far as attendance, it's very important for students to succeed to at least be checking in with the teacher through those Zoom sessions. Our attendance refers to the participation in those synchronous sessions as well as any asynchronous learning that goes on, and that would be especially those Wednesdays where we might introduce something to students and give them the chance to work on them independently. There's a couple different ways that we will go into that asynchronous learning mode, and I'll make sure to let the kids know. And I've been doing this with them over the last few weeks. You'll kind of see this a little bit more, that when they're confident in their understanding of an assignment, I do give them a chance to work independently on it and to come back to me for questions. If there's tasks or projects that are not completed during our class sessions, they do become independent work, and they need to be submitted to me completed by the posted due date. Learning platforms, we do use Zoom. that's becoming, kind of the norm. We use Google Classroom, and then we use Nearpod. So if you hear your students saying, "Oh, this Nearpod isn't working, that's frustrating," that's one of the platforms that I use in this class. It's a great self-contained learning platform that they're able to watch videos on, read articles, answer questions, collaborate with the whole class, and that's all done through a link that they're able to access, so that they're not having to necessarily watch videos and see all of the instruction through the Zoom screen, but that they have control over that on their own. One thing to keep in mind with that is that if they do have tech issues, I have given them a tool to communicate those tech issues to me, especially if there's a day where they're working on it and their internet goes out or the power goes out. They do have a way to let me know so that we can take that into account. As far as the online etiquette and expectations, probably one of the most important things that we need to cover, and that is that they need to be respectful, professional, and courteous. And that's a lot to ask from high schoolers. Some of them, as young as 13 or 14, and it's something that's brand new to everyone, and we're getting used to what is online etiquette. But if we really work to have that content and communication stay G-rated, make sure there's no inappropriate images or actions or discussions going on, and they're really doing a great job of that. I think they just need to kind of continue to have parent support in that, so that they know, everyone's kind of watching what's going on. It helps them to just feel confident in making the right choices. Cameras should be turned on, and the students should be visible and available to participate, at least at the beginning of each class period. I do definitely give them the chance to turn those cameras off for a while if they feel the need to. I understand that it's tough to be on camera for a long period of time, so I do give them the opportunity to have some time off camera. But at the beginning of class, especially during our morning meetings, as they're called at the beginning, they do need to have those cameras on so I can take attendance and go through the instructions for the day. The students are also asked to abide by those rules that were set forth by the Heart District. So not just the rules that I have in the classroom, but also those district-wide guidelines. So goals, I'm not going to sit and read through all of these. You do have access to go back and look at this, and I can email the objectives to anybody that's interested. Just let me know. But we work on the 7 functions of marketing, the marketing mix. We go over market research, and then the most important one, the one that's highlighted in white on the screen, is the ability to identify those key personal traits, the interpersonal skills, the elements of teamwork that facilitate job success and ethical action in the workplace. So yes, we go over marketing, and we do want students to gain understanding, but the most important things are those universal skills, those skills that they're taking with them into any industry that they go into after high school. That post-secondary success that we want to make sure that our students have, that's going to be the biggest focus. So especially now during distance learning, I put a little bit more focus on that than I even would normally in the classroom, and that's because I want the students to see, what is my purpose and how am I going to be successful post distance learning, post high school. So when you look at that main objective, it's focusing on those universal skills that sometimes you hear them referred to as soft skills or employability skills, professionalism skills. And there's so many that we work on, but just a few to kind of keep in mind: those problem solving, critical thinking, active listening. That one is really important right now. Organization, that's a huge skill to work on with students at this point. The accountability, so they understand that. Resilience and communication. And I really have them kind of search to see what are their workplace values, what did they feel is important, and then work on that as a class. And I'll tell you that accountability comes up with the students all the time on their own. They come up with that. So they're starting to understand the importance of it, and we do focus in on that during class. So how to contact me. I'm really available all the time. I mean, I would probably just share my cell phone number with you if you needed it. But in general, I am available by email, and then I do use Remind. So students have all been invited to be a part of the Remind group. I do have a few that are still getting that set up, but in general, I invite all parents to join that group also. Not only do you have access then to any reminders that I send out to the class, but you have access to get a hold of me in a text-like manner. So if if you have a question and it's kind of quick and you just need to ask me, or it's Sunday evening and your student has a question and they're not real sure about getting hold of me, you're welcome to do it that way too, and I will always get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks so much for taking the time to listen. Please feel free to contact me with questions, and I look forward to getting to know your student and spending time with them over this semester. Thanks so much.